Marketing Edge ONTV is Nigeria's leading initiative in the business of brand management and in the management of brand business. It is a 30-minute awesome package that comprises brand news, branding focus, and industry conversation, all in a mix, encompassing thorough and in-depth analysis aimed at promoting the brand idea. My name is Bababumi Agbibi. Welcome to the program.
Marketing Edge ONTV, promoting the brand idea.
We begin with brand news, where we bring you the latest developments around brands and in the field of marketing and advertising in Nigeria and around the world. The Lagos State government has unveiled new cybersecurity guidelines to protect businesses, public institutions, and residents as it strengthens its digital economy. Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Benga Motosho, says the move is aimed at making Lagos a safer and globally competitive tech hub amid rising cyber threats. The guidelines outline practical steps on data protection, access control, and risk management, and align with national cybersecurity laws. Officials say the framework will be regularly updated as Lagos continues its digital transformation. The global copywriting services market is gaining strong momentum, and according to introspective market research, it is projected to reach $48.89 billion by 2032. The report adds that as brands compete harder for online visibility, companies are investing more in persuasive website content, social media messaging, and campaign storytelling. Meanwhile, the rapid expansion of e-commerce continues to accelerate demand for skilled writers. At the same time, it affirms that artificial intelligence tools are transforming how content is created, and consequently, analysts say copywriting is quickly becoming a central driver of digital marketing performance worldwide. Nigeria's manufacturing sector generated 1.17 trillion naira in VAT in 2025. According to National Bureau of Statistics, that marks a sharp 46% jump from the previous year. Even though many citizens describe the economy as difficult, spending on essentials such as food items, beverages, cleaning supplies, and cement continues to rise. In fact, analysts say these everyday products remain must-buy items for most households. Meanwhile, manufacturing still delivers more than a quarter of total VAT collections. As a result, experts believe consumer priorities are shifting towards survival needs rather than lifestyle spending.
Marketing Edge ONTV, promoting the brand idea.
That was brand news. Next is branding focus after this break.
Marketing Edge ONTV, promoting the brand idea.
Now, brand in focus. Nigeria's digital economy is facing renewed scrutiny over its heavy reliance on foreign cloud infrastructure. Industry data shows that Nigerian companies spend about $850 million annually renting computing power from data centers located thousands of kilometers away, powering everything from fintech transactions to government digital services. However, concerns intensified after reported disruptions in March 2026, when geopolitical tensions in parts of the Middle East highlighted the risk of hosting critical workloads in external regions. Meanwhile, major fintech platforms and digital services in Nigeria continue to rely on cloud systems hosted mainly in Europe, the United States, and South Africa. According to analysts, this dependency is driven by global market dynamics as hyperscalers prioritize regions with stronger infrastructure certainty and regulatory stability. As a result, Nigerian firms are left exposed to foreign currency volatility, external regulatory frameworks, and potential geopolitical shocks beyond their control. In response, telecom giant brands are investing in large-scale data centers in Lagos to strengthen local capacity and reduce reliance on offshore systems. However, experts say domestic infrastructure is still not enough to match Nigeria's rapidly growing digital transaction volume, raising long-term questions about digital sovereignty and resilience.
Marketing Edge ONTV, promoting the bright idea.
Next is Industry Conversation, where we discuss with industry thought leaders who have distinguished themselves and have made tremendous impact in their chosen field. Today, my guest is the Chief Executive Officer, Houz Creative Media, Ifeanyi Ugoaru. Join us after this break.
Marketing Edge on TV, promoting the bright idea.
On Industry Conversation today, my guest is the Chief Executive Officer, Houz Creative Media, Ifeanyi Ugoaru. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you. Let's start with getting to know you aside being the Chief Executive Officer. Tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, I think I would say Ifeanyi Ugoaru is someone that has been equipped with the ability to solve problems. So for many years now, I've been introduced or indoctrinated into the capacity to solve problems. So over the years, all I've done that got me here is that I've been solving different type of problems for different type of industries and different type of brands. So I think that's how I'm able to classify who I am as a person.
What's your assessment of the creative industry presently, and where do you see this industry in the future?
Yeah, well, the creative industry in Nigeria has grown in leaps and bounds. We've done amazing stuff and it can only get better. If you look at where we are in Nigeria, the level of things that we're exposed to, so you can see that we've done a lot and there's so much to be done. And I just wish and hope that the government can see actually the potential that the creative industry has, to drive an economy, and also in the area of job creation as well. They can actually invest in a lot of infrastructure that can help a lot of creative have access to the things that they need to be more to enhance their capacity and the things that they're able to do. And I think that there's no limit to what we can achieve.
Houz Creative Media has created a space for itself in the market.
Yeah.
What beliefs or philosophies shaped the agency when it first started?
Okay, I'd rather talk about where we are now.
Okay.
But when we first started, what we started the agency with was that we wanted to create a house where that can help a lot of creatives, where creatives can come and solve problems. Because I believe that part of the reason why God gave you the ability to be a creative person is so that you can solve problems. The world, the challenge that we have in the world today is being solved by creative people who keep inventing different solutions to counter problems. So that was the idea behind Houz Creative Media. A house that helps creatives that can solve whatever challenges that businesses have, brands have. But in the last year and a half, we kind of refocus our energy to help SMEs, because we saw that in Nigeria, or if you look at the world economy, small businesses drive the economy, not the big businesses. So we wanted to take all the stuff that we've done with big businesses, wanted to look for a way to democratize this for small businesses to also help them grow. So that's what we've channeled our resources to do. And we've been having tremendous results in that area, and it's something that we want to continue to do. We believe that we want to take say a small business who is probably doing maybe 500,000 or 1 million in turnover monthly to a point where they are doing 500 million every month in turnover. That's what we want to do, and we believe that that is how we can add to the economy, and that's how we can help a lot of small businesses grow. So that's what we've been doing for the past year and a half now.
What excites you most about the Nigerian creative industry?
I mean, it's about the potential that is that's available. The world is global now. So the Nigerian creatives can tap into what's happening in different part of the world, and so there's so much potential, there's so much ability that we can, that can be tapped into. Again, I'll go back to government again. Government also needs to play a very, very critical role in ensuring that there's facilities, there's infrastructures, that the creative industry can tap into. So if you're a creative in say Borno, for example, should be able to have the access to whatever he needs or she needs to be as creative as he can be, as well as a guy who is in Lagos or in Abuja. So I'm probably calling to the government to look into the creative industry. There's so much more we can do. I also believe that the creative industry can actually significantly add to the GDP of the country.
Okay, so you talked about potentials. Now, where are the biggest opportunities for production companies in Nigeria now? The
Yeah.
biggest opportunities for them?
I mean, I would say AI.
Oh,
AI has come to stay. Is going to be part of our lives. So I will encourage a lot of production outfits to find a way to inculcate AI into what they do. So what that means is that sometimes some people misconstrue AI to take people's job, but actually AI is actually supposed to enhance what you do. So for example, what would take a creative or a production outfit maybe a day to do, AI can help them do it in a couple of hours or even a couple of minutes and all. So with that, you find a way to be able to marry AI into whatever you do, and definitely to help you and enhance your production capacity. Definitely.
aside, you've talked about the government and how much the government needs to support the production company and agencies. Now, what other challenges are there for production companies that people outside the country might not even see?
Okay, I would say maybe access to, you know, maybe access to proper education. Now, when I mean education is, you rarely see, aside from your organization, that does so much about educating people out in the industry. I really rarely see uh, places where young creatives, can go and maybe enhance their skill, or where they can go and get some kind of mentorship and all, So I think that's something that needs to be looked into, where we can have different avenue, to be able to either sharpen your skills or learn new things. Yeah, I believe that's the way to go.
And let's come to storytelling. The way stories are being told, has it changed or is it still the same old way creatives are telling stories?
I mean, it has changed definitely, because I mean, social media is very, very critical to how stories are told these days now. Yeah, I mean, as much as some brands are still hung up in the old way, but yeah, definitely storytelling has changed. You have to look at the way customer audience or customer behavior has changed over time as well too. How they consume the content, on a daily basis. So as a brand, you have to find a way to also, tell your story to reach the people that you're trying to reach. You cannot try to reach a 19-year-old person and your strategy is radio and TV. So you have to find a way to be able to um, meet them where they are, and definitely tell the story the way they want it to be told. Yeah.
Okay, so production quality in Nigeria compared to other global standards.
Yeah.
What's your comparison?
I think it's improved. It is improved. It has improved. It can get better. Yeah, but I think that when Netflix and Prime came to Nigeria, I think they did. They helped. You can see the quality of movies that we have on Netflix and Prime, and see how they've improved compared to what we used to, what we had before now. But it can always get better. So, like I'll go back to government again. If you have institutions, like you see in America, you see studios like Tyler Perry Studios, you see all these people with all these studios, also sometimes backed by government. So if you have, I know that Lagos is doing something there's one film village somewhere that Lagos is doing. If we have a lot of infrastructures like that, I believe that definitely it will help our production quality enormously.
So these days, audience, they seem quite difficult to impress. What do brands need, brands and agencies, what do they need to learn to retain this attention and get the attention of audiences?
Yeah, I think it's just meeting them where they are. Like I said earlier, audiences are consuming content differently now. As a brand, you must have a strategy across different channels where you think your audience will be. You must also have a way of, you must be able to tell your story differently. You have to, like these days, if you want to, you see brands going into chats, and conversing with audience. So those, you have to have those kind of strategy. You can't just you can't want to reach an audience of people who are on TikTok, for example, and you're not talking to them in the language that they understand. If it's going to take you to do a video to reach out to them, you have to do a video. If it's going to take you to do an audio, if you're going to take you to be in the chat and talk to them in their slang, if it's going to take you to do an app, whatever it is that you need, definitely that's what you need to do.
Do you think brands are investing enough in creative ideas, or they're still trying to play safe?
I think I would say yes, I would say no, but I think they're doing their best. But it can always be better, And I think the onus is really not just on brands alone; it's more on the agencies, because you are the ones that go to the brand and say, we can solve your problems for you, or we can solve these problems for you. So I think the agencies have to also invest in how to constantly be better, constantly being able to give more than the brand, or even go to the brand with different ideas. Because sometimes one of the things I found out in this industry is that sometimes the brand actually don't really know what they want, but you as their agency, because they've trusted you enough to be able to solve problems for them. So you need to go to them and say, this is what we've observed in the markets, this is what we think your competitions are doing, this is what we think your audience wants, this is what we think will stand you out. So all these things are what the agencies need to do to make sure that the brands are being seen by their target audience.
Okay, so let's look at brands and agencies. A slim budget by brands, they want a big project, and you want to maintain quality, but there's slim budget. So how do you maintain that balance?
The agency just have to be honest with the brand. Me and my team, this was something that we're discussing, recently. A brand comes, they want to give you X budget, but they want to do X, Y, Z for them. But I think that the agency just have to be very honest with the brand and say, with what you have, this is what we can do. And sometimes the brands are actually not very hard to please. A brand just want to see that I came to you with this problem and you solved them for me. I told you that I'm currently reaching 10 customers, I want to reach 15, and you solve them for them. Once you're able to do all those things, actually you see that the brands will play along. But agencies, don't tell a brand that has an X budget that you can give them X, Y, Z. If their budget can only give them X, tell them that this is what your budget will give you. But we'll ensure that we maximize that budget to give you, what you want. And part of what we're trying to do at Houz Creative Media, like I said earlier, is that, we want to be able to take small businesses to profitability. I don't see why a business who is currently making ₦1 million, and you take the business start making ₦5 million, we won't want to pay you more, because they've seen the visible traction that has happened between the time they started working with you and the time they are making the money they're making. The more they make more money, the more they pay more. So if an agency wants the brand to pay them more, whatever the brand comes to you with, maximize it, let them see the results, and then that becomes your bragging right to get more money from the brand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nigeria is culturally layered. How important is it to infuse our culture into creativity, rather than copying global standards, the templates?
Yeah, it's very, very important. And we see brands make that mistake all the time. A lot of, especially big brands. You see brands who cut across different countries or different regions. You know, you see them do a campaign maybe in America, and they deploy the same campaign in Nigeria. You know, and you have someone in Kaduna or Port Harcourt, and you're trying to reach out to them with the same way you're talking to the person in New York or in Florida or in London. You know, sometimes it doesn't work. You know, so it's very very important that brands, especially big brands, be understand that you have to talk to the audience in the language that they understand, and also that's also what we're trying to do with SMEs as well. To we just did an event recently where we took the SMEs on principles of branding and how to make sure that you're talking to your target audience in the language that they understand, and that language doesn't have to be Igbo, Yoruba, or Hausa.
Earlier, you talked about artificial intelligence, and I want us to go deeper into that. First of all, do you see it as a threat or something that should be applauded?
Anybody that sees AI as a threat, they doesn't understand the essence of it. It's just like, I remember when internet became a thing as well. So a lot of people thought internet was going to be something that was going to take jobs away from people. But me and you have seen the internet has really, really improved our lives. It has improved the way we do things. If I want to talk to you now, I just send an email, a chat, and I can be in Abuja and you're here and we're conversing, So the same thing, that's what AI is as well too. AI, any agency right now who has not built a policy around AI, then they're lagging behind, As an agency, you have to be able to find a way to make sure that you use AI to enhance your service delivery. It's very, very important.
So enhancing service delivery, making work faster, that should be the future. That's what people should see.
Even part of your creative process as well.
Now,
so,
okay, but what if the threat stays around talent layoff?
I mean, like I said again, AI should not lay off talent. In fact, AI should give you an edge. If you're a skilled person, if you're a creative, AI is supposed to actually help you enhance your creative possibilities. Let me put it that way. Exactly. So it shouldn't be a threat to you at all. If you're a designer, for example, AI can help you get better designs. If you're a social media person, AI is supposed to help you see different aspects of how to engage people. If you're a production person, AI should be able to help you see how to make your production better. So it's definitely a win-win.
Great companies are built on people. So what talent mindset should companies look at?
Yeah, I mean, like I'll use ours as an example. In our agency, what we look out for is, number one, you have to be a creative person first. Number one. Number two, you have to like they always say, talent is not everything. You have to have the right personality. We want people who are ambitious. We want people who are obsessed with learning. Who want to get better every day. I want you to come to work tomorrow, not being satisfied about what you did yesterday. So I think those are the things that agencies need to look out for. People with those kind of personalities. Then also agencies have a culture to also invest in their people as well. To make sure that someone comes into your agency at this level, and in 1 year you want to see like tremendous growth in them as well. Yes.
In an industry driven by ideas, what helps you earn and keep the confidence of clients?
I mean, it's just making sure that whatever problem they come with, you're able to solve them. Like I said, brands are not so hard to please. Once you're solving their problems, you have them for forever. If a brand feels that they're getting their money's worth, they always. I mean, brands are. There's a reason why you have agencies, because brands they just want to focus on what they know how to do best. The guy who makes phones just want to focus on how to make good phones. It is you as an agency that needs to now make sure that you help them take the phone to the right people that need to use the phone. So yeah, once you're able to solve the problem for the brand, I'm sure you have them forever.
For someone who encounters Houz Creative Media for the first time, so what style should they notice first immediately they encounter Houz Creative Media?
Okay, so what we do in Houz Creative Media is that we don't see brands as the same, even if you're in the same industry. You know, what we do is that for every brand we encounter, we sit down with them, understand their story, because our entire thing is built on storytelling. You know, in fact, that's also what we're telling the SMEs as well. We're saying that just because you're a small business, you know, doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a story. Because one of the things that we found out is that audiences or customers, you know, they connect with your story. That's why you see people put a logo of a brand on their body. You know, you see somebody who uses a HP laptop and they're putting a Apple sticker, you know, at the back of their, is because there's something about the story that brand has that they are connecting with, you know. So you need to once you sit down with you, understand your story, then from there we take it and use that to walk through whatever it is that um, whatever your challenges or the thing that you want to achieve is, you know. Storytelling is very key, because like they say, if the people don't care what you know until they know how much you care, you know. So the customers, they are human beings, you know, they always want to connect to something, you know. So if your story resonates to a customer, you know, and they can connect to, like, for example, you see something like Apple will say, whatever we do, we like to challenge the status quo. That's why you see a lot of young people automatically gravitate towards that brand, because when you're holding that brand, you automatically feel like as if you're challenging the status quo, you know. So brand needs to have the ability to tell a story. You know, once you tell your story and your story is compelling, audiences will be attracted to it, definitely.
Thank you very much for having this part of this conversation with us. I've been speaking with the Chief Executive Officer, Houz Creative Media, Ifeanyi Ugoaru.
Thank you.
You can join the conversation on our website and on all our social media handles at Marketing Edge. My name is Bababumi Agbibi.